What is good, y'all, and welcome back to my channel. Guys, I greatly apologize for my absence. I know I've been away a very long time. I send out my apologies to you guys. I greatly appreciate the support and anyone who's reached out to me and anyone watching this video. I've been going through a transformation in the last couple months. That's why I've been away, trying to rid myself of distractions, trying to purify my life and raise my vibration both spiritually and intellectually within myself, and building a strong awareness of what's going on in the world right now, because I believe it is a crucial time in our history of what's going on. We're going to talk about that. So first, I did want to thank you guys for your patience and send out my apologies. I also want to send my condolences to anyone who has lost a loved one, a family, or friend during this time, whether it be from what they're telling us is making people ill and dying, or just anything at all because you're not able to mourn the people you love properly. I cannot imagine the pain that that's caused. So I send my condolences and good vibes to you guys. I'm very sorry that if you've experienced that loss during this time. It took me a few moments to decide I wanted to do this video. I've been going back and forth. I'm going to be talking about some stuff that is not necessarily going to be comfortable to hear for some people, that this platform has penalized people for talking about in certain ways. So that's why I was a little bit nervous in making this, but you know, telling the truth and telling how you feel is always the right thing to do, regardless. Worrying about consequences, living in fear, which we're going to talk about, is not the way to go. I'm going to be saying some names and some words in here where I may not actually say the word, but I'm going to use words that rhyme with them just to kind of protect the video. But you know, whatever's going to happen is going to happen. I wanted to thank a few people on YouTube, because I did delete the app, but I wrote down some names of some people I just wanted to focus on. I didn't want any distractions of any stuff that I typically watch, like movies or sports stuff. I wanted to focus on motivational things. So I want to thank a few people who have inspired me to even do this. And if my voice cracks during any of this video, I get emotional, I apologize. This is not easy to do. I want to thank a few people who've helped guide me spiritually in the right direction. Ralph Smart from Infinite Waters, Diving Deep. Very great channel. I'm going to leave a lot of links of everything I'm going to talk about, whether it be news stuff, historical stuff, what I'm about to be talking about right now in a few moments. Everything will be linked below. It's going to be a lot of information. Look at what you want for us. Yeah, Ralph Smart of Infinite Waters, Aaron Dowdy. These are two just regular good dudes who talk about a lot of spiritual, uplifting stuff, and they're talking about what's going on in our world right now, and have helped me kind of organize my thoughts. You know, once I turned off the news and realized what was really going on, these people were there to kind of like guide me in the right direction. David Icke, whose channel has been banned on this platform and on FB. He's been just stating opinions on what's going on, and he's been removed. That, to me, validates somebody when they are removed like that. And I thought this platform was about free speech. It turns out it is not. It's controlled just like everything else, and we're going to get into that as well. Wanted to who else am I missing? Dr. Rashid Buttar and Dr. Andrew Kaufman. What's going on right now in the world is a medical crisis. So when I do research on anything, I look toward the experts. I'm not an engineer. I'm not a doctor. I'm just a regular dude doing videos, working, just a regular person. So I go toward the medical experts when there's a medical crisis, and I also research the medical people that the news and the government are providing me first, and then I look for my real answers. So I want to thank those two guys. They put their careers online. They've been had videos banned, everything. So I want to thank them as well. There's probably some people I'm forgetting, but guys, I'm going to be talking about, if you haven't gathered already, I'm not going to be, this isn't a mukbang or a movie review. We're going to be getting deep into a lot of stuff that's going on in the world. I'm going to take you in the way back machine so you get an idea about how I think, how I feel, why I do research, why when I can spot things, awareness, We're going to be talking about meditation, prayer, God, and just finding your true self. And that is kind of what I want to open up with. We're going to get into the juicy stuff, but something I think we all need to do right now. And for the first couple weeks of this lockdown, we're also going to talk about the news, all that other stuff. But first thing we'll talk about is, like I said, prayer, meditation, all that. And for the first couple weeks of this lockdown, I was doing what I normally do. And I was just sitting on my behind, watching movies, being lazy. And then I watched this documentary called Out of Shadows, which, like I said, I'll link below. And between that and just taking walks, being out in nature, there's one day I was just taking a walk and it just hit me like there's a reason that we're in our homes right now. There's a reason we are locked down. And it's no coincidence that some institutions that typically tell us how to think are closed, because this is the time to think for ourselves. We have to look within. And now when I talk about prayer and meditation and vibration, there's no religion, doesn't matter whether you're Christian, Muslim, Jewish, atheist, Buddhist, Taoist, whether you pray to your ancestors, no matter what you believe in, this is for everybody. God doesn't pick one group. Religion to me is just the road you take to find God. And so this applies to everyone. So when I say vibrational, we are all connected. We are all interconnected. There's a wave of energy, a frequency, whatever you want to put it, that connects all of us. We are all interconnected. Now, right now, they're trying to disconnect us, but we are all connected. Now, how do you tap into that vibration and raise your vibration? Raising your vibration will make you feel better. How do you do that? You spend time in nature. You take walks. You eat well. But also, one thing I've been applying more in my life on a consistent basis is prayer and meditation. Now, some people are familiar with prayer. You know what I'm talking about. You're sitting down and you're talking to God. I'm not talking about, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about actually sitting down and locking in, not speeding through something to get to something else. Being in the moment, in the present time, and talking to God, talking to the higher power, finding your true self, looking into yourself. That's what I'm talking about. And that you can do that either by talking to God. You can sit there in silence. Oh, Scott, I don't know how to meditate. You don't need to sit and put your legs like the way you see the Buddhists do and all that. You can get to that point at one point, but just sit there in silence. When you're in silence, that's when the answers will come. You gotta turn off your screens, be away from the movies, the TV shows, anything that's going to distract you. Only reason your phone should be there is if you're listening to motivational music, meditation music to try to get you in the right place. These things will help us raise our vibration. Because when I took my walk, when it hit me that this is the time, before I did that, I stepped outside and I just put my bare feet on the grass, which I cannot recommend enough everybody to just do. It's something you can easily do. We all have a patch of grass somewhere near us, or patch of, not even grass, just earth. Put your bare feet on it, you will feel the energy run through you. So if you're praying, you're talking to God. If you're meditating, you're just sitting there and you're focusing on your breathing. You're feeling the energy just flow through you. And in your mind, you're just focused on that. Any thoughts that pop in, you just pop them like a bubble. That's it. You're just locking in. And this is the time to do that. This is I felt a huge shift in energy. When I take my walks now, I see more people taking walks, riding bikes, gardening, doing things outside, spending time with their family. It's beautiful. So I know I'm not the only one who's felt this. We're all different people. We've all gone through different things. So we're all going to feel what's going on a different level. Now, I feel like I've already experienced awakening, but I kind of try to bury it and go back to sleep. But anybody that's been awakened knows you can never really go back to sleep. And, watching that documentary, being out in nature, praying, meditating has all been the kick in the pants that I needed to take myself to the next level. Because it's easy to stay in what's familiar. You guys know I love movies and I love film, but I can only take myself so far. There's a box that we stay within. We are so powerful, and prayer and meditation can make us realize how powerful we are. We spend time in nature because that's where we're from. We're from that. We're from nature. We are of nature and we are connected with nature. When we're spending time on social media and things like that, we're disconnecting because that's not where we're from. When you're at work or when you're at school, You ever wonder why you don't feel right in there? It's because that's not what you're supposed to be doing. Not that there's anything wrong with school, but school isn't about learning. School is about grades. And work isn't about improving yourself. Work is about money. And if it were about those other things, you would feel more comfortable in them. But that's why you don't feel comfortable in them. But like I said, prayer, meditation, positive thought, positive manifestation. So when you're sitting there in silence, picture the life you want. Picture the house you want. Whatever you want, the family you want, the peace you want, whatever. If you are feeling depressed, picture yourself being happy, doing things that make you happy. These will be all things that will raise your vibration, because this is how the vibrations work. And listen, everything I'm going to talk about today, I'm not an expert on by any means. I don't have a degree. I don't got nothing like that. I'm not an expert. This is based on my own research, experience, and just doing. This is vibration. This is the surface. Fear, anger, hatred, sadness, depression, it all is down here. And it's literally underground because you can't see the light. You can't see anything when you're down there. You're gonna listen to people we're gonna talk about with the news while they keep you in fear and anger and all that, and they want to keep you down here because they don't want you to see the light, because then you stop giving them time, energy, and money. But to get out of that rut, you have to do those things I'm talking about. Connect with your true self. When you are born, you are perfect, and then immediately you're told what to do, where to go, when to do it. You're kept in this box that's been created. And I'm gonna quote something religiously, so I apologize if I get it wrong. But from whether it be Christian or Islam, the angels, I've been told, are beholden to us. They pray to us. They don't pray to us, but they are beholden to us. And you think the angels will be beholden to people that are told to go to school, go to work, get married, save up for retirement, get old, die? You think they would be beholden? No, because we're part of something bigger than that. We're part of something so much bigger, and we're so much more powerful than that. And the people that run the show, I'm going to say they a lot, and when I say they, that's the people that run the show that you never see. The people that know these secrets and keep us in a box. There's a reason that 1% of the population can control 99% of the population. It's because they know they're connected. They know they're connected. Anybody who's played basketball or any team sport knows when you work together as a team, you win. When you work as individuals, you lose. It's just how it works. So those people know that. And then that's why they use the news to use race and religion and other things like that to keep us fighting, to keep our vibration low, to keep us afraid of ourselves, to keep us afraid, oh, that person looks differently than me. It's okay that people have different religious beliefs. It's okay that people look different, have different background. It's just who we are. We're all, but there's no reason to fight about it. But they want to keep us fighting. And they act like they're providing you information, trying to keep you safe. That's not what they're trying to do. So before I get into the news and all that, that's the first message I want to convey to everyone. This is the time to lock into yourself. Some people have probably already felt what I'm talking about with this shift in energy in the universe. It's a new time, guys. If you're like me and you've never felt like, something's always been off about in the world. But like when you're by yourself, when you're listening to music that you connect with, while you're praying, you feel at home. But then when you go out in the world, you feel lost. There's a reason for that. It's because out there isn't normal right now. But things are changing and things are going to get better. But in order to do that, we all have to pray, we all have to meditate and raise our vibration together. And then the darkness will simply just fade away. Now, one thing that's been going on in our world right now is fear. We can't deny it. And that fear is coming from one place, and that's the news. And Scott doesn't believe, and I don't like using myself in the third person, but I don't believe the news. Two reasons. One, like I just said, they want to keep you in a low vibration. They want to keep you in a state of either fear or anger. They want to keep you angry at people you don't know and haven't met, or just situations you don't know about, just make you angry at the world. And also, or to keep you afraid. And also, they lie. Now, why do you think they lie, Scott? Well, I'm going to take you in the Wayback Machine. So I'm going to take you back so you guys kind of have an idea about why I think the way I think, why I feel the way I feel about the news, politicians, when I say they, where it all comes from. When I was 14 years old, about 19 years ago this September in 2001, one of the worst things ever happened in American history and world history for that matter. We all know I'm talking about the attacks in September. that took down the Twin Towers, a Pentagon, and in Pennsylvania. And thousands of people died. And thousands of more people have died since then as a result either of the war that was supported because of that, or people that were down there helping. They were told the air was clean, the air wasn't clean, whole thing. That happened. Now, when that happened, I was 14. Now, I don't think the way I think now the way I did 19 years ago. Excuse me. So what happened was I watched the news more than I ever watched it in my life. Now, at that time, the news was just, okay, it's a bunch of people providing us information. They're telling us what's going on in the world here, telling us what's going on in the world there. Okay, they give it to us. We got politicians. They get elected. They're here to protect us, or blah, 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 all, you know, etc., so on and so forth. I was 14 years old, though. I'm not worried about that. I'm worried about chasing girls, hanging out with my friends, playing video games, watching movies, staying late up at night. That's what my world is. Then that happened. Now, that happened in primarily New York City, a place that I've been. I've seen these towers in movies. I used to go down there with my dad. My dad worked down there on the building. I'd seen the whole thing, so it was very familiar, and so it hit me in a weird way, and I started watching the news more than I ever watched in my life. I was reading newspapers more than I ever read newspapers. The only reason I was reading newspapers before that is so I could cut out a current event and get some extra credit on a science report or something. That's it. But I was reading the news. I was consumed by it. And what I was also consumed by was fear at first, because what happened was scary, and they showed it over and over and over and over and over again, because it's making it stick in your mind what's going on. And these are things we've seen before kind of in movies, so we kind of been programmed for it. But it's over and over. So I was fear. And then that fear turned to anger and hatred when within hours, one of the worst crimes in world history, they found out who did it. Now that should have been red flag number one, but I'm 14 years old, so the dots didn't connect, and the worst crime in history, Scott, and they find who did it within hours. That should have been an immediate red flag. It takes longer than that to find somebody who robs a bank or robs a jewelry store. But I digress. So I was consumed with fear and hatred of people I never met and people that look like that. Now, there were some things during that day that happened that never set right with me. And as a year passed, 2 years passed, I kind of just accept what was told to me by the official report. And then I started to question what I was told. I remember that day there's a building that fell down at 5:30 p.m., World Trade Center 7. This building was hit by no airplanes, but had some office fires in it and had rubble from the other buildings on top of it. This building at 5:30 p.m. collapsed unto itself, as if it was in a controlled demolition, and it looked much like the way the other buildings fell, as if they were in a controlled demolition, just how I saw it. Now, I'm not an expert in engineering, but I do know that you can't rig a building for a controlled demolition within a few hours. So I came across a video called Loose Change. I did other research on articles, other things. Now, this was an event that had to do primarily with damage to buildings and airplanes. So I go to engineers. These are the people that are experts, they're educated, they live this stuff. And many of them were telling me not only what we were told was a lie, but then I started connecting the other dots. So that's just the base factual information. Then I started connecting the other dots and realized that there's people connected to that were in the government, politicians, other people. You start connecting the dots. This is why we have to do research on things, guys. We need to research the people that are providing us our news, our politicians, our celebrities, the people that are providing the content that goes in our eyes, we see with our eyes and goes in our ears. We need to research them the way we research, way we talk to a new girlfriend or boyfriend or friend. We need to find out about them. Like, I know about my friends. That's why I trust them. I know who they are. I know they're good people. They wouldn't be my friends if they weren't. But we need to research these people. And as you start to do research on these things, the branches start to fill out. And before you know it, you have not a tree, but a forest of lies. And when it comes to this event, I realized that not only did they not tell us what happened, they lied to us about what happened, and they were in on it. That is the conclusion I came to with my research. So the main thing I get when I talk about this stuff with people is, Scott, why would they do this? Why would they want to do this to their own people? Why? Because what happened right after this? A war happened. A war is about money. We went to war with a country that they didn't even say perpetrated the event against us. It's about money. It's about control. These people don't care about us. That's why they can do this to us. People that don't care about you, they have an end, a goal in mind. This is just, all these things that happen are just a means to an end. They don't have any emotional attachment to you. They don't care about you. They don't pay your bills. Why would they care about you? They're worried about keeping their jobs and the security of their family and whatever they worship, which is terrible, in mind. So that once you get over that hurdle and you realize these people will do anything to get to their end goal, anything is possible. Anything is possible. So I looked at that event and I did hours of research, guys. Hours. Now, a lot of that research I've done, I went back and tried to find. I probably should have saved the information, should have known better. It's been whitewashed. They've got rid of most of it. If you search this stuff on this platform or other places, it's going to be hard to find because they bury the truth. If you find it, it's going to be about 80 videos deep. And they know how average people are. When they go on Amazon, they're going to look in the top 10. They ain't going to look down at 80. Then they search something, then they're going to be done with it. But I'm telling you, I will provide you with a few links to just get you started. But so I said, all right, let me go back to another major event in our history. That happened November 22nd, 1963, is when our president, John F. Kennedy, was assassinated in Dallas, Texas. Now, President Kennedy was, now, no one really knows what happened, but I can tell you again, based off even this event literally takes not even that much research. You realize what the official story is a lie. Now, what actually happened with either the event I just mentioned in September 19 years ago or this, I don't know the answers, but I know what they told me wasn't the truth. And if they told me wasn't the truth, they know the truth and they're covering up the truth. So I went back and I did the research on President Kennedy. So President Kennedy was anti the CIA. And CIA is a group that does covert things. He was anti any secret societies, things that are done in secret. He wanted anything we do to be public. He believed the American public, the world, should know what we're doing. There's things we need to do. Our mistakes need to be public. I'm going to include a great speech he has down below. It is, if you listen to this, you can tell why what happened to him. He was anti them. He fired their boss, Allen Dulles. He wanted to dismantle them. He did not want that organization to exist. He also wanted to investigate the Federal Reserve, who was behind our bank. Pull out a dollar bill, Federal Reserve note. Our money is backed by the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve, my friends, is not federal. It's about as federal as Federal Express. And I'm repeating stuff I've heard elsewhere, but it isn't federal. It is what it is. So we're paying a debt to a private bank. That's where our money is back from. He wanted to investigate them. He even started printing our own money. United States notes. And most importantly, President Kennedy was anti the war in Vietnam. He did not want to go to war. We had no business in that war. He knew it had nothing to do with us. So why would we be for it? So he is anti all these things. And within a short period of time after speaking out about these things, trying to get bills passed for these things, he is taken in an open convertible ride through Dallas, Texas, and is assassinated in front of his wife. And then soon after that, the vice president, who was being investigated for 2 murders, takes over as president, right? And then we go to war. He takes over as president, pardons himself for his murders, makes sure we go to war, so the war machine's happy. We got that money coming in. Anybody knows anything about the Vietnam War? Most people were anti it. There was a draft. You had to force people to go into this war. I believe close to 60,000 American troops died, and over 2 million people in South Asia, Vietnam, and Laos died. So that day was one major individual. Now you can do the investigation into that, the material witnesses, how they randomly disappeared or whatever. You can start to connect the dots. What they told you was blatantly not the truth. Whether you look at the surface evidence, where you look at the deep evidence, it wasn't there. So that's 2 major events in our history. If he hadn't lived, our world would not be the way it is today. I promise you that. Now, 5 years later, his brother, who was on the fast track to be president, just won the California primary. Guess what happens to him? Same thing. He's like-minded like his brother. They're on the same page. So we can't have another one like him in there. We can't even risk it. After he wins the California primary, he's taken out. Soon before that, Dr. Martin Luther King also assassinated. 3 people that were about galvanizing the people. You notice how anybody that's about galvanizing the people, about disparaging the difference between religion, between race, between black and white, they're always end up in the morgue. It's not a coincidence, my friends. Malcolm X, Gandhi, Lady Diana, it doesn't matter. They don't want these people around. It's no coincidence that these things happen. So now you know I take those 2 major events in history, and that is why I don't trust the news. Because the official story that they told you about President Kennedy was a lone nut. Shot him. His brother, a lone nut. Dr. King, a lone nut. It's always a lone nut. And then some people just take it in like, oh, yeah, well, that's what happened. And then they go on with their life and they vote and they think they're making a change in the world and etc. and so forth. But those are 2 events that I thoroughly researched. Now there's those types of things, I'm not even going to say the word. Those types of things that have happened that I have not looked into, but I can imagine that people who have, I would probably trust the not official story. So that brings us around to what's going on in the world right now. So I realize this is a major event in our history. I sensed it once I turned off the news and I turned off the fear-mongering machine. I realized this is what it is. But I can't just say that. I have to do my research. I can't just assume that, but that's where my inclination goes. So this is a medical crisis. So I look toward the medical doctor who is being put in front of us and telling us information. So first person I research is him, Dr. Anthony. I'll just say that. Dr. Anthony, within 10 minutes of research, guys, 10 minutes, I literally was sitting on my behind, not even trying. And this guy is on the board of directors for Gil Bates. And you know what I'm saying? Gil Bates and his wife's foundation. Their foundation is about pushing vaccines. And they have also been about depopulation for quite some time. Now, he has a direct tie with something that has to do with a cure for what's going on. He immediately, you guys know what conflict of interest is? That's a conflict of interest. And not only is it a conflict, it's a sinister conflict of interest. He's about pushing something that is directly connected with what they're pushing. And then if you look into the Gil Bates and his wife's foundation, you realize it's just terrible. Now, with minimal research, I found out they've been doing testing on people in Africa, India, and I believe Asia. Now, I'm not 100% on that, but you can look into it and find out yourself. Now, I know about Gil Bates. He is one of the richest people in the world, started a computer company. His wife, I didn't know much about her. I watched her recently on a morning show on, I believe it was CBS. Now, guys, I know you might be thinking so far, you might be out there a little bit off the rails. Stay with me. This woman is on the morning show. Someone who is pushing vaccines, who is about depopulation, who is directly tied with the person providing us medical information, is wearing a necklace with an upside down cross on it. Now, I'm not sure how familiar you guys are with symbols, but the cross upright is Christ, Jesus, the light, love. The cross upside down is anti-Christ. It's anti that, and some people might think that's Satan as well. You can go where you want. So that person is running a foundation with the doctor that's providing you with information. So immediately, not only do I realize that he is lying, I trust him and those other people that the news throws in front of me about as much as I trust and believe that the Dunkin' Donuts is going to lift itself up off the ground, plop itself out in my front yard, and the elephant's going to come bring me my coffee in the morning. That's how much I believe them. I believe that's going to happen. It ain't. He lying. So I don't trust where he's coming from. Now I don't know who to trust. But I know there are doctors, and they're just like with the events in September of 2001, there's going to be doctors, just like there were engineers then, there's going to be doctors speaking out. I mentioned Dr. Rashid Buttar and Dr. Andrew Kaufman, and they broke it down on a medical level. These people are doctors. They studied and practiced medicine for longer than I've been around probably. They've been doing it for a while. They are practiced in what's going on in the world. Excuse me. And now I'm not going to get into it, but they basically have said that the information you're being told is exaggerated and untrue. I'll provide their links, like I said, down below. They've had videos flagged, removed, and when you remove a video, you flag a channel, whatever, you know what that does? That validates that information to me. Because you're like, if what they're saying is crazy, then you would just leave it and let people figure out it's crazy. But if what they're saying is making sense, then why don't you debate them on it? If you disagree, why don't you debate them? You don't want to debate them because they will lose the debate. Now, I'm not going to recite everything they said medically, but what they said made sense. I researched them just as much as I researched the other dude. And guess what? They're just regular doctors, just regular dudes trying to provide accurate information to us. These people are lying to us is what they do. And it is sad, but we need to break away from these lies. We need to focus on what's right. We need to look toward the truth. We need to find the truth. Now, researching a lot of this stuff, the historical events, it can lower your vibration. So I do recommend if you're going to do that stuff, do it in small doses because it can make you very sad and upset. But in the end, it's eye-opening. It's going to be hard to take in. It's going to be hard to realize a lot of these things. You know when you wake up in the middle of the night after you've been asleep for 5 hours and the call of nature hits you and you have to turn on the bathroom light? And it takes a second to take in. It takes you like 30 seconds, whatever, to adjust. It's the same thing with this. Imagine if you've been asleep for 20 or 30 years or 40 years or 50 years. It's going to take you that much longer to let the light in. But once you let the light in, your eyes will open up. You will see things differently. There's nothing like the truth. There's nothing like it. People can call you crazy. They can call you whatever. That's fine. There's a couple good quotes, but like, and people don't name call. If somebody thinks this way, like myself, you want to name call me? Fine. Tell me why I'm crazy. Tell me what I'm saying is false. Provide me with your sources that aren't provided by the government, who obviously has a bias and an agenda and a profit margin to fill. Provide me with sources. Provide me with information, and we can have a debate and a discussion. Give me that, and then we can move forward. But don't name call. Don't disparage people that think differently. Prove them wrong. They aren't crazy. I'm always on the side of the person that they think is crazy. Because the person that thinks is crazy, guess what? They can probably see something that I can't. So now, amongst doing this research, I watched this documentary called Out of Shadows. And now a lot of people are like, Scott, I don't trust politicians already. Cool. Neither do I. They all lie. Every single one of them lies. It's what they do. And you're thinking, oh, at least every single president in my lifetime has lied. Every single president since President Kennedy has not. He's been our last president that actually wanted to do anything for us. You know how I know that? The rest of them are living. That's how I know that none of those other ones are for us. You're saying, Scott, no, what about that one? Nah, just because he spoke well, not him too. He's on the same list. And if not worse, because he's presented something different. But they all lie. We need to research these people. The way we research the way we talk to people coming into our lives, these people are the ones providing us with content. And when I say content, I also mean your entertainers, your actors, your directors, your musicians. Now, music is the best thing we ever created, and film is my favorite art form, and I'm going to come back to watching movies eventually, but I need to have my awareness at a point where I know what I'm taking in before I do that. I need to be ready and just know when I'm being fed information, because the movies have been programming us from early on, and these actors and celebrities, they've been making a fool of themselves during this lockdown, trying to make themselves seem relatable and like regular people. You ain't. We know you ain't. But what they also, if you start to read between the lines and look at things, there's the pyramid. There's the they at the top, then there's the politicians that put the laws in place to keep the they at the top, and then the people that don't believe politicians, you have celebrities that tell you to vote and go stay at home, do what you're told, all that, blah, 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 blah. All right, so before I kind of round everything up, I'm going to touch over a few things that's been going on in our world that we've all had to face, that we've all had to deal with, that I believe there's subliminal messages to. As I mentioned earlier, we are all connected. We're all part of the same frequency, the same vibe. You know, when people say good vibes, vibe is short for vibration. We're all part of that. They want you to be quiet. This is not a time to be quiet. This is a time to speak up. And I thank all those people I mentioned earlier in the video for encouraging me to speak up. I thank people like Dr. King, Malcolm X, John F. Kennedy, his brother Robert Kennedy, Lady Diana, Gandhi, people who spoke up and told the truth. You know what I mean? And listen, not everybody's going to get what I'm saying. And that's cool. You'll get there eventually. It's fine. It's hard to explain the color red to someone who's had their eyes closed their whole life. It's okay. Your eyes will widen one day. And one way to do that, if you don't want to research these things, you think I'm crazy, I can encourage you to pray and to meditate, and I guarantee you will be led to the truth and to the light. This is the time to tap in to the true self, to the God within you. We all have God. We all have light and love within us. You notice that's the best moments of our life is when we are with friends, when we are with family. That was my favorite moments in school is when I was with my friends. My favorite moments in life is when I'm with people I love and when I feel connected. And that's what they want to do right now is disconnect us. We can't allow that to happen. Stay connected to the people you love as much as you can. Make sure you feel love. Make sure you meditate. Make sure you pray. Eat well. I've switched out coffee for tea. I've tried to eat less fast food and more water, no soda, and just doing little things. Just do little things to connect yourself back with nature. Take a walk. Put your feet in that grass. Feel the energy. Feel it out there. You know how I know things are okay out there and things are going to get better? Because every day I walk out there and take my walk in the morning, I hear those birds chirping. I see the rabbits running. I see the squirrels running. The nature tells me where everything is. I'm more connected with that than I am with what the news is telling me. I know that 100%. I'm more connected with those birds, the grass. Everything is exactly where it's supposed to be. The pillows on your couch, the trash, that laundry that you haven't done yet. Everything is exactly where it's supposed to be. The crickets, the cats, the clouds. Everything is perfect. And once you start meditating, once you start praying and tapping into yourself and to God, you will realize that. Guys, I would love to do more videos like this in the future. Please give me your feedback. I thank you so much for listening to this. I know it has been a long road. Please give me your feedback. And like I said, if you do think I'm crazy, that's fine. Provide me with research on why you think I'm crazy. Tell me why. Guys, I love you. I hope to see you guys again soon. I would love to do more videos like this. Like I said, talking about positive things, vibration, what's going on in the world, whatever. Again, guys, I appreciate your patience and my long delay since I've been away. I love you very much. Please remember to love each other. Make sure to smile. Make sure people can see your smile. Because that's what it's about. It's about love. It's about light and finding that right now. This is our time to tap in. Turn off those screens and tap into God and light and love. This is it. This is our moment. Guys, I love you. I will see you guys again soon. Until then, please take care and be well.